The annual Syncrude Food Bank Food Drive is a success again this year. Ariana Johnson, the third year I've been involved in it. Third year you've been involved in it too, isn't it?
We were Food Drive virgins together.
We were, certainly. And every year the numbers get to be more astronomically high.
They do.
Let's talk about the food drive this year and the volunteers first. 600 volunteers, 4 days. Let's go.
600 volunteers, like 1,500 hours, and that's just trucks and warehouse. Doesn't include the 140-ish that my board of directors put in, plus the 200 my staff put in. It's absolutely amazing, and the little things that happen during the food drive. I think the most touching moment for me this year was I was going through donation receipt requests, and there was a note that said a Sobeys employee came out and gave me a $100 gift card and said Canada has given $3 million or $1 billion to the Philippines. I can't remember which it is. To the Philippines, the least I can do is give 100 back to this community. And like no tax receipt requested, no ID as to who he was, just simply the volunteer said that he was a Filipino gentleman that worked at Sobeys. And it was honestly like I read that and I was like, wow, like his family may still be there and could probably use that money, but he chose to give back to the community where the community is given to them.
And certainly, and let's talk a little bit about companies too, because a lot of companies coming through. The one that I had a chance to actually see was Campbell and Cooper, where they donated $3,000 of food, $2,800 or $3,000 of cash, $2,800 of food. We got pictures of that, but they're not the only company that stepped up this weekend.
No, absolutely. We have a lot of donors who don't just provide money; they provide volunteers. They provide food for our volunteers. So, like McDonald's, the Sawridge, Subway, Joma's,
Mitchell's was in there.
Was in there. Moxie's was in there, and all of these companies that step up and provide, whether it's a warm cup of soup or a nice cookie. Oh, the Bearstone Bakehouse donated 200 cookies, which I didn't get to have one. So if you're watching this, I'd really like to try one. Willing to pay for it. And then the companies who provided volunteers, Dunvegan Gardens stepped up. I had all these shifts open on Friday, and Brad from Dunvegan stepped up and called me and said, just send me the shifts you need people for, and he sent people out to them. Fletmanning and Moore had their staff here tonight for several hours, and just the amazing outpouring of different organizations who send out their staff and people who come together. The Travers Slade family who comes out in their onesies, and we were so excited to see Flick come out and man a truck for a few hours. And I know that you had a really good time with that one, Jerry.
I did, yeah. I seriously thought, and I don't mean any disrespect when I say this. I called Ariana. I said, "There's two people in pajamas and a dog in the back. Is this supposed to be happening?" And Mush McMurray does it every year for you.
Yeah, they do, and they buy new onesies every year. So, and they thoroughly enjoy it. Terrence actually emailed me afterwards. He said, "If you have any other open shifts, I'm more than willing to do it." So it's really just the community. I think the Syncrude Food Drive year after year shows not just that we are the financially most giving community in Canada, but that we are the community in Canada that will come together for a cause and for an event and do it right. And do right by our citizens and do right by the people who maybe just can't do it for themselves.
Now, before we get into the totals, and you have the totals, astounding again this year, let's talk about Syncrude and their involvement with this. And just the 200 employees, $65,000, it just goes.
Syncrude is amazing, and not just the 200 employees and the $65,000, but the fact that they come on for a long-term contract. Most charities struggle under this, how do I set a budget? How do I decide how many staff I'm going to have without any kind of long-term sustainability of knowing what money we're going to have come through the door? And Syncrude, time after time, steps up with a long-term contract for me for this event and for the food bank. And it's just amazing. And then they send out 600 volunteers. They take care of Saturday. Saturday's like my dream day of the food drive, right? I don't get any phone calls about people didn't show up or we're missing this. They come out, they get it done. And, the girls in stakeholder and community relations really do a great job planning. Oh, and gentlemen, because there's a guy there this year. His name's Kevin. He planned all of the volunteers and organized them all. And they just do an amazing job. And their executives come out for every shift and go and see all of their employees and bring them like some swag. And they stop in and see me and Cara Flynn, VP of Stakeholder Government and Stakeholder Relations. She came in and gave a personal donation, and just really, Syncrude and their employees always step up time and time again for us.
Okay, now let's get into the totals, Ariana, because
he's going to cry before I do. Just as a note.
It's not going to happen. Let's give the totals this year. I promised myself I wouldn't cry
You're
this year.
already there.
Let's do it this year. What did we expect for what, or we should say, we're way up on the cash from last year.
We are way up on the cash.
Let's talk about that.
We are, including corporate challenge, at $360,000 and some change. That is absolutely phenomenal. Last year we were at 310-ish, and to have that extra bump, it just helps us to cover those costs and cover the purchase of food. We've done a lot of food purchasing this year, and it's been a strain for our budget because certainly the increase in client usage has been 35% overall for the whole year this year so far, and that is something we weren't expecting and we weren't really ready for. And so the increase in cash certainly puts us in a better position to deal with that in the coming year if it happens again.
Which is always good. Now, let's talk about the food that came in, because you guys went out for an ask about September-ish looking for some more food too.
We did. So because of that increase in usage, we really got to a point where we had to go out early and say to the community, we're desperate. Our shelves are bare, and they were bare. It was like Mother Hubbard's cupboard in here. And so we went out to the community, and in the month, so September, October, and November, this community brought in 37,000 pounds of food for us, which is absolutely amazing. And really, the food just seemed to come in the right waves for us throughout those 3 months to really fill the holes. And the community's been listening. When we tweet out our needs list, when we go pick up the grocery bins or we get a food drive in from a company, the things we need are in those food drives. And that's the amazing part for us, is that the community's listening to us and not just saying, food drive, I'm going to clean out my cupboard. They're listening to what we actually need and want to be able to give our families the best possible nutrition. So it's really just been, the last 3 months have been amazing, and they're just kind of topped off by the last 4 days.
All right, let's get the total on food here, Eric.
So the last 4 days have brought in 57,839 pounds of food.
What does that mean to the food bank?
I'm pretty sure I can confidently say, I said this last year, but I can confidently say I'm pretty sure we can get to June with that food.
All right, that is amazing. Wait, and that's without buying?
That would be without buying non-perishable goods. So we purchase perishable goods every week. We purchase milk and potatoes and carrots, apples and oranges, bananas, lettuce. We have a Western bread distributor up here who provides all of our bread free to us. So that's been an amazing thing for us this year. It's new. It started in June, right around the floods. He wanted to help with the floods, and we got to talking, and now he delivers bread to us once or twice a week. And it's always enough bread to get us through. As a matter of fact, we've actually been working with some other organizations to provide them with bread as well, because sometimes it's too much for us.
That is awesome. So another successful year, the 2013 Syncrude Food Bank Food Drive?
Absolutely, and absolutely a successful year, and Rogers Communications, again, stepping up to support us in the biggest, best way that they can.
All right, well, thank you, Ariana. Hugs.
Hugs. And I just want to say there were tears in his eyes, and I managed to keep it together.
First year.
I cried last year.